Save the date because the next live letter from the producer is going to be on November 5th, 2021 at 7 o'clock p.m. PDT. This video is going to be going over very briefly what we already know from past live letters, Endwalker showcases and the like, including websites, and avoiding really any super in-depth spoilers, and then we're going to be taking it into some of the things that we don't know and are probably going to be likely candidates to be explored in the live letter. So pulling up the Endwalker 6.0 featured website, we can see a few key elements. As we already know, Endwalker is bringing us the conclusion to the Hydaelyn and Zodiac storyline. Like any expansion, there's going to be plenty of main story to go around for everyone. Likewise, this is going to include things like brand new maps, new beast tribes. In particular, the developers have already showed off the Arkasodara. I apologize if I'm saying that poorly. Arkasodara and the Loporrits, which are freaking cute for the record. I'm like talking about the Loporrits. They are so cute. Can I just have like 9 of them as minions, please? Just like following me around, just like a Loporrits army. Maybe that's my goal for my like Island Sanctuary. If they let us have like an army of like minions, I'm just gonna have like a Loporrits army of minions. I'm terrible, I know, okay. And then obviously we know that there's the new Sage and Reaper jobs and changes to the current jobs. Male Viera is going to be the new race that's been added. There's going to be new trials, which is going to be including 2 different ones, and so that's pretty standard for a new expansion. Like in our last Shadowbringers expansion, we knew that it was Innocence and Titania. We know that we're getting a new Savage raid tier called Pandemonium, and then a new Alliance raid set that is going to be commonly called Wedding Savage, at least. Really hoping that that name still catches on and like stays relevant. Wedding Savage, oh my god, that's just the best name for it. Now that gets us to really postulate what the next live letter is, because honestly we are missing a few big gaps in information here. So my first and actual biggest item for myself is the Island Sanctuary system, and I don't know how many people are excited for it, so it might be controversial for me to say this, because I mean I have also seen a little bit of people saying, oh, this is useless, they should just put the time into raiding. But you know what, I am actually, no BS, ridiculously excited for it, to say the absolute least. I can already feel the dislike buttons being clicked by people who want more raids. I can't help it, I'm actually excited for this. This game mode is in general apparently just something meant to be taken as slowly and relaxing solo content where you literally just like let minions roam around, and it's just meant to be overall just a relaxing chill experience. So we haven't really seen or gone many details about what it actually is, and honestly when I think about what the scope of this could be, when I think about like Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley, all of these different games, there's actually a metric ton of different things that the developers might look at doing with it. Like when you're talking about this form of content, like if you really push it in any direction, you can actually make it go really crazy. Systems that we have currently in 14, we have gardening, we have housing system. Those are incredibly intricate and in-depth systems. Like one look at the gardening system for someone who isn't like familiar with gardening, for the record I have a startup gardening video on this channel that'll help you cook up some Davenarian onions, aka a ton of gil. But one look at that actually scares off a lot of new players. I only say that because I know that like a lot of people requested that I made a video on gardening, and I did that. I should do like a gardening series. I don't know. Maybe that would actually be helpful to the community. Let me know if you think it actually would be. The point is, we have these systems in game. We have outdoor furnishings. We have so much potential already, and a lot of the like subsystems for something like Stardew Valley already kind of really exists in 14. And I'm just gonna be serious, I see this as being one of the most favored types of content for a lot of people, honestly. We know how popular stuff like Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley actually is, like those games themselves, and even saying it like that might be understating it. Like those are absolute monsters of games with like huge communities around themselves too. So I would actually be shocked if in this live letter we didn't get a ton of juicy details on the Island Sanctuary system. I am definitely keeping my eyes peeled up for that. My god, I fangirled about that for like 2 minutes. I'm sorry guys. Okay, I'm excited. I'm actually genuinely excited for it. I'm sorry. To counterbalance it is actually the other thing that I am equally as excited for, and I'm wondering if there are any further announcements for the Ultimate Raid. It's actually something that I genuinely truly plan to do as my first Ultimate Raid, and I've really been hoping to do it with me and my boyfriend co-healing. I'm gonna be serious though, it is unlikely we're gonna get any more details because we know that the developers like to keep that under wraps a lot. But for me, I need to say, like, I might be a little bit of an Optimist Prime here. I know, not Optimist Prime. I'm trying to not be a Negatron and say that we won't get any, but I'm trying to be Optimist Prime here and say that we might get some details. Okay, I will even take like just the weapon images. Just show me the weapons. Let me know what the sage weapons look like for the ultimate raid. I'd love that. Just that. For real though, I'm really gearing myself up mentally for that ultimate raid challenge. I'm a little nervous, a little anxious. Getting a group together has proven to be more difficult than I could have ever imagined. But wow, I actually really want to do that. I'm actually like so freaking excited for it, dude. Now PvP in Final Fantasy XIV is definitely a controversial topic in and of itself. Some people adore it and other people absolutely resent that it exists in any form. But we do know that the developers have planned a lot for PvP, which is undeniably going to include a ton of job changes in the next expansion. There also has been a lot of talk about changing the reward structure, which as someone who is still very sad, I'm not even mad anymore, guys. Like, I was mad for a bit there, but now I'm just freaking sad about it. Like, I couldn't get the Shadowstalker armor. This has been a much needed change in my opinion. I look forward to that. But further from that, and probably more interesting to everyone else as I'm lamenting over not having that amazing armor for my healer, is that on the website they have now released officially that they are going to include a brand new smaller scale PvP mode. Description is about as generic as you can get for a PvP mode, so we can't really tell what it might have in there. They didn't even give us a bloody picture, like, so secretive, I hate it, no. But I for one really do like the idea of a different small scale PvP mode, and I have my eyes peeled on that for sure. Now the next thing that I am dying to learn a lot more about is what are the plans for crafting and gathering, and what are they like in depth rather than like the super bird's eye view that we kind of have right now. And we've actually fairly recently in Shadowbringers gotten changes, like big changes to the systems, to the user interface menus, like how even collectibles work. Like, things have changed already a ton in Shadowbringers, and to say the least, that has improved the quality of life for both crafters and gatherers. And not to mention that we've had like new side objectives of like special glowy tools, which I need to admit I haven't fully gotten the sets myself. I am so sorry, guys, I'm not gonna lie to you though, but I am curious what sort of ways this will be expanded to Endwalker. Like, are they gonna get like their own like relic weapon thing, like with like more chains? Or what about events like Ishgardian Restoration? That was something very unique to Shadowbringers, and honestly that would be pretty neat if they continued like some kind of different tradition going into that. Even though, how to say it, I'm gonna be honest with you here too, is the competitive aspect of the crafting isn't something that I'm really able to get excited about. It kind of scared me from that. Like, oh my god, the drama. I'm just like, oh my god, I'm staying 1,000 miles away from this topic. But in general though, I really do want to know more about crafting gathering, because that is something that I definitely do. That's how I earn my gil guides, okay? Although if you are looking for gil making guides, I actually have a series for that on my channel. I actually have gotten a lot of comments about that recently, like, oh my god, I'm so broke going into Endwalker. Don't worry, my guild guide got you covered. I'm actually gonna try and remember to put in the description or the comments. If not, just boot me over Discord being like, Cole, you're being stupid again, you forgot the thing. Lastly, I'm gonna end it on this because I know that it's a pipe dream, is that I'm curious what the plans are for Datacenter travel in Endwalker. I know, I get it, like, it's mostly a semiconductor shortage. I get that that's really the real hang up of this, but as someone who is like in the very strange position where I actually have a community, which is more than I could have ever imagined when I started this journey, I really want to play with people. Like, there are people on like Crystal, there's people like even literally on Balmung that want to play with me, and it's like, I really want to see that. That would be like a game changer feature, so I'm hoping that they might say something on it, although I suspect it'll still be like semiconductor shortage, like, stop asking. Let me dream. Aside from these topics, I'm not really fully sure what the developers will speak on, but for sure there is going to be a lot for this live letter to keep your eyes peeled out for. But anyhow, that gets me to the real question that I'm genuinely curious about. Like, what are you guys most excited for? For me personally, and I know that people are going to be mad about it, Island Sanctuary. I am not joking. I am actually pumped for friggin' Island Sanctuary. You know what? I actually haven't played Animal Crossing. I haven't done much Stardew Valley, but I'm excited for that. That and Ultimate Raids. Any information possible on those two would be amazing. Anyhow, let me know what you think in the comments. Take care, everyone.